welcome to our Wednesday afternoon night live with Evan B. How we doing, Evan?
Kind of feels like afternoon, a little pre 5 p.m. light, still pretty warm out there. So I don't blame you on that one. Doing pretty well.
Yeah, I butchered it. It's okay. Glad Evan's doing well. I hope you guys out there watching and listening are doing well. Also, I feel like every time Evan and I get on a show together, there's some new comment or quote out there in the college football landscape that we almost like we
Seriously.
cannot not address it. We have to address it, and we will do so in just a moment. But don't forget about that IT sale right now. The flash sale, $1. We'll get you a subscription, and then once that subs up, you got 50% off the first year. Again, you got Evan over there killing it with the baseball coverage, Nash Talks Texas, all the guys. And then for you football heads, you off-season guys, all the content in the world up there at Inside Texas right now. Plenty of updates on some big-time recruiting scoops and getting ready for some big-time official visits here on the 40 acres. So, Evan, thanks for being with me, my man. I appreciate you guys coming in a little bit early. Last week of flag football, and then I promise my schedule, my shows, we're going back to normal. But you can see the title on the show right here. Talking season is almost over, and it's not just about flag football. When I brought that up, that's not the only thing that motivated me, because again, Coach Joey McGuire out there, talking about our horns. Not saying, again, probably hopefully the last time. I'd like to move on from all of this offseason banter. And that's kind of what the gist of this is, Evan. Is there a point in which Coach McGuire, and then, I feel like Sark has already started to do so, but hey, we just move on from all of this and we start to worry about our college football teams and, hey, actually, making sure that we're, able to cash those checks so they're riding with our mouths?
Yeah, that was probably the one where if Texas doesn't respond to this one, which they won't, he's probably going to go, yeah, it's over with. We've now done our Houston, San Antonio talking tours. Like, let's just start looking towards football because it's June 3rd. They started working out 2 days ago, so like we have some football coming up, and that's why you're saying talking season's almost over. Like, football's not too far around the corner. We're getting close to the 80s in terms of the days left. I think it's 94 days left at this point. So, yeah, I think this is probably the last little jab we're going to hear because Texas has just been really quiet since Joey started talking. And even I think if the Texas brass could have picked it, they would have told Sark not to do that in hindsight and make that little joke. But it's so funny, Cord. I've never seen someone take some person not really talking about them so far and so deep into their own talking points and their own rhetoric around scheduling and things like that. Joey's really taken that one small comment to some Longhorn fans and really gone with it about how his team's going to schedule going forward.
I think it's a combination, and no, you're exactly right. He has really, really ran to the absolute extreme with Sark's comment. But I think it's a combination of he knows that he can put his school in this light of like, oh, we're big bad. We'll schedule Texas tomorrow if they actually wanted to play us, but they won't do it, which we know is not exactly true. And then also, the other side of that is not a lot of people are talking about Brendan Sorsby, and that's all that people talked about when Texas Tech was brought up there for several weeks, 6 weeks, 2 months. So again, I think playing the game a little bit there. They know what's going to happen with media. They know what's going to happen with fan bases. You've seen it. You've seen people that I never thought would just absolutely take this. Like, oh my God, Texas is absolutely afraid of Texas Tech. Texas Tech wants to play people are going to do what people do. Media's going to run with it. It is what it is. I am just hoping, though, at some point that, everybody just moves on. Because I'll tell you right now, I can't think of anything funnier to me than if Texas Tech goes in there and goes 9-3, 10-2, potentially misses a college football playoff. They wouldn't make a college football playoff at 10-2, would they, Evan, with the schedule they have?
Yeah, without Sorsby or with Sorsby? I'm saying without.
Well, no, it doesn't even matter. Like, I'm just saying, if they were to go 10-2, like regardless of who the quarterback is with the schedule that they have, I don't think they're going to get the benefit of the doubt a la BYU or, that they get left out. So the point is like, they better make sure that at some point they're loaded, strapped, and ready to go play college football, not just talk college football.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's the one problem with having that super easy schedule and playing the Big 12 and ACC, where if you kind of put yourself above those ranks, which I think they and Miami are probably the two most obvious teams who kind of put themselves above the secondary conference that they're in, is because you can't play and beat yourself, then you have to be pretty good on the margins, because more than one loss and suddenly, like, unless you win your championship, you're probably not going to make it. We saw that with BYU, who they lost to Tech, they lost to Utah, and then that was it. Like, their season was just over because they couldn't. I actually don't know. They didn't even lose to Utah. I believe they just lost to Tech twice. So that's what's going to happen. If you have 2 losses in the ACC, you either got to win the championship or you're done. And Big 12, of course.
Yeah, no, and I fully agree with you. So, and that's a big part of the reason why I do not genuinely believe that they would actually accept the Texas game if Texas were to say, "Hey, you know what? We have talked to old GJ Kinney, and we're going to go ahead and do it. Let's line up and play. We'll meet you in Dallas, or we'll come to Lubbock." I don't think they do it because you slip up one time after a potential Texas loss, and your season is cooked. And then all this banter, all of this, sticking the chest out, chirping a little bit, it would look pretty silly. And they've done a good job here of late through NIL portal. Obviously, we talked about it last time, Evan. They've elevated the status of the program. A lot of people are talking about Texas Tech right now here in early June, and traditionally, no one is really talking about Texas Tech outside of Lubbock and the Panhandle maybe this time of year. And that's no disrespect. Tech would tell you the same thing. It is what it is. I talked to y'all. I thought this whole thing was brilliant by McGuire, but at some point, I do think it does have to end. There's some point where people are going to be like, man, he's doing a little too much. He's just talking to talk because, like you said, Texas is kind of clammed up. They're not really saying much. There's no rebuttals or responses or anything. But it does add, it was already going to be fiery tonight when the ladies step out on the softball diamond and go at it. You know what I mean? But it's added just a little bit, as far as the social media perspective goes, it's added just a whole other layer, man.
Yeah.
Going to be a blast tonight. But, yeah, so any particular comments, thoughts, opinions? Do you have a prediction? Sorsby, do you think this is a guy that's going to play any football for Texas Tech this year?
Sorsby, no. I think he's just not above the law and the NCAA more now than at least since like the SMU case in I believe that was the 80s or 90s, that like now more than ever they need someone to be an unfortunate spokesperson, but really just a case for them to say, like, we still have some power here. We are able to put down a hammer and say, you can't do this, which Sorsby, there's a lot of reason why they would get away with that, even if it weren't for them to need to do it. But they really need to have someone that, the word's not scapegoat, but just someone that can be their statue for, we still have power. We are still a governing body of this overall college football and college sports. So it's pretty cut and dry with Sorsby. He bet on games that he was a team of, and he clearly knew that he shouldn't have been doing it because he was having other people place bets for him.
Right.
There's just, the evidence is too damning for him. So I don't think he's going to play. I don't know if you asked part of it in that question, but what Joey McGraw was saying today at his San Antonio club, I think it was we're going to schedule someone in the future. Don't you worry. It's not Texas. They won't play us. We're scheduling someone, a blue blood, which I'm really interested to see who that is, because there's teams elsewhere. Like the Big Ten needs to start scheduling teams, and I don't think any SEC team is going to be scheduling Texas Tech. I believe all those blue blood or around programs like Georgia are I'm pretty sure they have their schedules pretty much locked up going for the next 2 or 3 years. So does that mean they're playing Miami or Notre Dame, or are they playing like Florida State, who is technically still like a top tier program? But if he's doing all this talking and they lock up a Florida State series, I don't even know what I'm going to say.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. My very first inclination, and I've got, DMs on Twitter to prove it, was Florida State. I was like, that would be just hilarious. You know what I mean? Because I think you got to have a little bit of a motive, obviously, behind some of these matchups. And a lot of times these coaches, it's a recruiting motive. You want your brand to be seen inside of those state lines. Obviously, a ton of talent inside of Sunshine State. And so that was my first thought. It would be a little bit of a troll almost, because, again, I consider Florida State to be a blue blood. Are they anywhere near that status right now? Probably not. Are they going to be there anytime in the near future? You never know in college football. Things can change overnight. But it would be really funny just if that was who they chose. And then I started to think, okay, let me go check out Florida State's non-con schedule, their future games. And they've got Notre Dame on there. They've got Florida on there, obviously, like the interstate rivalry. So I'm going to go to the other coast. There's a lot of talent in California. Lincoln Riley, this is really interesting to me. I'm putting on my conspiracy theorist hat, all right? And I put this on Twitter. And I said, I think it's USC. I feel pretty good about that. And then I said, what if there's the chance that Lincoln Riley is coaching in that game, but not on the sideline that everybody thinks he will be coaching on? I started to get way down. We started to have some fun on this.
Getting in the weeds.
Lincoln Riley back to Texas is something that I just feel like inevitably happens as the further we get into his time here in the NIL and portal era and super conferences. He hasn't loved, a lot of the perspectives that that come with those super conferences, and so the travel and the recruiting and the spending. And so I'm just saying, it'd be pretty funny. I want to go back and be able to clip this if that, .001% chance, if that ever came to fruition there. But yeah, again, I'm going USC. You have an official prediction? 'Cause I don't think it'd be Notre Dame. I feel like
No,
that's
I like it.
I don't.
USC makes sense now that you're outlining it. It does need to be. I think McGuire's not going to do all this and not actually pick a team that's like got a brand with it. That would be real embarrassing. So
Right.
USC has the right mix of they're not quite some powerhouse yet, and it could make sense for both sides to go and have a game like that. Tech would like to go out to California and play that game, and I think Lincoln Riley could maybe. I don't know how much he feels like he needs to show up a team not in the Big Ten, but Lincoln Riley is just kind of fishing for some wins these days. And who knows if, like you said, this is he's probably one of the hottest seats in college football, at least among coaches who you actually expect to be competing a little bit this year.
Yeah, honestly. So when he agrees to that matchup, or if he even gets to agree, if it's his choice at all, it's like, part of me is like, in his mind, I don't care. 50-50 chance at best I'm here anyway. But again, with the top heaviness of the Big Ten, I feel like there's going to be plenty of Big Ten schools, those top schools at least, still going out and scheduling some marquee games. I don't see Notre Dame scheduling Tech. Could be wrong. Would be great. I think that'd be a fun matchup. I guess time will tell. But let's get off of Tech, Evan. Again, I guess we'll have to bring up softball here in a little bit. We'll go baseball, then we'll do softball. So we'll give you a break from talking Tech, but we do have to talk about Najee Kennedy and those Red Raiders. It's going to be a fun series, but man, the vibes at the Austin Regional look to be pretty elite, man. And again, you spent a lot of time there. You covered it there. Party deck at it in left field. Just talk about, a couple minutes on the experience and just, the home field advantage that, Texas is going to have going into the Super Regional. It's going to be, man, it feels like there's just more juice at the dish than there's been in a while.
They've done a really good job with that outfield, because I think one of the things that does play so well in the SEC is, I think of like Georgia and Auburn with their monster, and Mississippi State's got a great outfield presence. All these programs have these really fun, maybe bleachers, or there's a grass area out there, or you're on top of a monster that just the fans, there's a certain different vibe out there. The fans that want to go out there bring the energy a little bit more, maybe bring the hatred a little bit more likely to chirp, more likely to go get drunk and take off their shirts and start waving them around. You know what I mean? But like, that's fun for the postseason. That's what you need out there. And I think Texas was always, pre-Yeti Yard, you had left field, and it was like, was that enough? And those guys are great, but they're all out over there doing their own thing. Now, when you're looking at the shot of the field, you see Yeti Yard here and the Ford Built Tough Yard over here, and the guys in the right field tailgate area. Now you got a party deck. Like, there's now so much more for people to go and stand at. And you could spend they could have gone the distance in that Super Regional, and you've gone and stayed at a different spot every single time out there in the outfield and had a great view and had a great time. So I like that they're doing that. So people gave me some flack on Twitter for this take, and I'll stand by it a little bit. Saturday's game was awesome. That night game, they were loud, they were proud, especially for that Robbins at bat. But there is a sitting problem at the dish. People love to sit at the dish, and I'm someone who I've always been grown up on the idea that at postseason games you don't sit down most of the time. In football, like student section, you don't sit down, and I get it. Like, people who go to these games are not 20 years old; they're 65 with kids and grandkids or whatever. But there are times where I'm looking, and we were talking about this in the press box. So I'm like, hey, you down there, like, there's a whole patch of section. This is a 3-2 count with 2 outs, and there's a runner on second base. Get off your feet and start cheering. Like, this is the biggest play of the game. And like Aiden Robbins' home run, when the crowd was, some people were very, very excited, and others, it was like they had no idea what was going on. I'm like, you guys got to get up. So I don't think that's actually going to be a problem this week, and I have a feeling that, especially once you're really feeling that Super Regional with a much more set in stone, like, we know exactly when these games are happening. Their night games are on ESPN. This crowd's going to be pretty wild. It's an awesome like moment for Texas as a program to kind of, you're on the main ESPN station for the first 2 games, night games. Like, there's a lot of people in the world who still just kind of put on ESPN and they'll just watch whatever's on there. Right. And, maybe my dad's one of them. He'll just kind of put on whatever. He's got 3 channels he'll go through, and whichever seems more interesting, he'll go there. Usually it's Jeopardy, but like, there's a lot of people who might not be watching a lot of college baseball and might not know much about it and might not know much about Texas apart from Longhorns, and say, man, this is the coolest thing ever. Look at this stadium. Look at these players. This is awesome. So Texas goes and wins like a 2-0 sweep here. That place is going to be rocking, and there's going to be a lot of buzz about this Longhorn team.
Man, really well said. And again, it is cool. I thought going into the SEC, that was a major thing Texas had to, change about the environment. Was just, you said it perfectly, man. You go talk about, the dude, and you talk about all these different environments in the SEC, they have one thing, like you said, some of these MLB ballparks have them as well, but like one big cool feature. And a lot of it obviously includes the crowd. And so it's cool to see the Yeti Yard. And obviously, Occupy Left Field's been there forever. And then Truman and the guys in the right field and the buses. And then, you just talked about the party deck. It is catching up to the rest of the SEC as far as like just a little bit something else. It feels like there's a little bit more life out there beyond those outfield walls for some reason. But like you said, man, night games at the Dish, I think it's going to be real cool. Just like DKR, it seems, the Dish comes to in most venues, comes more to life at night. And so I definitely, with the late first pitches on those 2 opening games, I think you'll see, honestly, the Dish about as good as it can get, man. Should be fun. We're going to do a quick timeout here from David McClellan, and then we'll get into this matchup between Texas and the old Oregon Ducks.
Big financial decisions don't have to feel overwhelming. There's someone who can guide you every step of the way. David McClellan is a fiduciary financial advisor with Forum Financial, and he's working closely with his clients as a true financial life coach, guiding every aspect of your financial journey with expertise and care. If his name sounds familiar, that's because David was a swimmer at Texas and a member of several national championship teams. Today, he channels that same championship mindset into helping people win with their finances. David specializes in financial planning, and he's contributed numerous articles to Keipelinger on the topic of retirement tax bombs. And right now, David is offering viewers a free intro consultation to assess your financial situation. Do not miss this chance to get personalized guidance from a trusted expert. To schedule your free consult, email David at dmcclellan@forumfinancial.com, or you can call him directly at 312-933-8823. The contact info is in the description.
Alrighty, guys, continuing on here. Hello, Chris Bennett. Maybe you're not way late. Maybe we're just way early, man. Maybe thought about that one. We are a little bit early today. Thanks for being here as always, my guy. Yeah, Texas and Oregon, man. Again, y'all kind of talked me into wanting Oregon State a little bit more than Oregon. Then, of course, we go out and watch Oregon kind of, somewhat dominate that New Eugene Regional a little bit. Maybe not the way that Texas dominated theirs, but overall, what do you think about Oregon as an opponent in the Super Regional, brother?
Yeah, I've done a little more on their offense than I have their pitching staff, which that's going to be my kind of big project tomorrow morning. So, offensively speaking, what I like about them is that they have kind of 2 different phases of the way they score runs, and it's not like they're dropping a lot of scoring on teams. And I pointed out in the article and on Twitter that, they're averaging only about 4.5 to 5 runs per game against like truly good competition. I narrowed it down to just teams who were 1s and 2 seeds in the regional play. So, the UC Santa Barbara was a part of that, who's got a great pitching staff, but also UCLA, who was the number 1 overall seed. And they're only a 4.5 to 5 run team, but they come about their runs in a pretty efficient way. Their 1 and 2 hitters are very, very good. I think the 1 hitter is second in the Big Ten in doubles and has as many walks as he does strikeouts, more if you add hit by pitches. The 2 hitter, it's the same thing. Really, really good plate discipline. And he's got about 14 homers on the year. And then they get to their 3 hitter, the third baseman, Smith, who's the only senior in their starting lineup, kind of the life of their team. And he's just an RBI machine. So you have 1 and 2 who get on and 3 who hits them in, which is kind of very old school, the way that they construct that lineup. And then it's funny, their power hitter is not the 4 guy or even the 1 or 2 guy. He's hitting 6th. They have the 4-5 who are both good hitters, and then this big 6'5", 265 first baseman, DH hybrid, redshirt freshman who they weren't even really sure he was going to play that much this year. They had a first baseman who was a senior and another transfer who was playing at DH, and these freshmen have overtaken them because they're just too good at hitting. So it's a true freshman catcher now playing first base. He was a top 30. He was the 1 spot behind Anthony Pack in the recruiting rankings, overtook a senior who was like one of their best players last year. And then a grad transfer DH who used to play at TCU got overtaken by this redshirt freshman. This kid hits, I think, he had a 492-foot homer this year. Absolute nukes. And he had their biggest hit of the tournament. He had a 3-run homer against Oregon State when they were up 1-0 in the 9th. Kind of the kill shot, really. Like, technically it wasn't the winning runs, but, when you go from 1-0 to 4-0, you're going to win that game. So this guy is a threat to leave the ballpark at any pitch and at any time. Obviously, he's hitting 6 for a reason, and he's not this guy who's naturally known as well because, he strikes out 53 times to 7 walks. Like, there's 3 true outcomes. He has 2 true outcomes. I think half of his hits are for extra bases. Half of his overall plate appearances are either strikeouts or home runs. Like, he's just going to do one thing, and it's either hit it out of the park or have it go into Carson Tinney's mitt. So the big thing is when he gets up, you limit the damage. And then their 7-8-9 has some fun guys. Their shortstop's a real X factor. He's an MLB prospect, but he hasn't quite been as good this year. Not hitting for singles a lot, but when he hits a home run. They have 5 guys in double-digit scoring, or double-digit home runs, excuse me. So, it's not this killer lineup. It's not – you're not scared the way you would be Georgia right below you in that bracket, or even, Mississippi State, like another SEC school. But the runs come from them, and they'll have a home run hitter that you really have to respect. The top 5 bats in front of him are all really good. You maybe get a little bit of a break with their 9-hole hitter, but that's about it. And then you look at this pitching staff, and it's like you see some of the games they won. It's like 2-1. Same way with UC Santa Barbara, 2-0, 4-1, things like that, where they just blanket teams. And that's not just this bad Big Ten competition they're playing at the bottom. That's including a series win against USC, and including Oregon State games. And they shut out Nebraska in the Big Ten tournament. Like these aren't just nothing games that they're pitching well in. So they have 3 true starters. It's going to be 3 starters versus 3 starters. It's not going to be anything weird on the Sunday for them or I guess it'd be Monday if they get there. So they're going to have a pitching staff that can really go after Texas. Same level as UC Santa Barbara is probably, maybe not the top line guys, but same amount of depth. And, I'm forgetting his exact name, but their number 1 starter is nasty. So Volantis versus him on Saturday night is going to be cinema. I think that's going to be a really low-scoring game to kick us off.
You think Sanford goes game 1?
Yeah, Sanford, that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah. He's probably going game 1. He's got like a 2.2 ERA or something on the year. He's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah. Again, it's good. I honestly, again, looking at this, I do think that let's say the Sanford's at his best, Ruger Rios is at his best, Dylan Valance is at his best. I'm taking Dylan and Ruger, and that's not a knock on Sanford. I think he's really good, but also obviously look at what we just talked about. So I give Texas the advantage there. I think top to bottom in the lineup, I agree with you. Texas has the advantage there, but it's not. I don't think it's like some big major advantage. 2 teams are somewhat similar. I think 2 teams that can strike out a little bit too often at the plate at times. Texas is a hotter team at the plate. I think as good as Dylan is. So that's if that's what you do. If you're Texas, like you go to Dylan game 1 against just Sanford, you don't try to get weird or anything, and you just so you're going Dylan, Harrison, Ruger, or what's your theory?
Dylan, Harrison, Ruger. Yeah, I think it's pretty clear. Even though at his peak, Ruger's better than Harrison, it's just the stabilizing force in the middle, kind of the same way that you had Ruger on Friday to start the year, so that now the pressure's on the team to go beat Luke Harrison, but then they've done all that. Now you got to face Dylan Volantis. Kind of the same idea. I like Ruger being like a potential elimination game guy if or it would be 1-1 last game of the season potentially. Having him kind of go all out, all gas there would be that's the kind of guy you want there, even if he's had his injury problems.
True. But like you said, I mean, Oregon does have some depth in that pitching rotation. Like I said, maybe not the top. You don't have a Jason Flora in that rotation, but they do have talent there. Miles Gostola is serviceable. Colin Clark, and then Cal Scolari is the one that has a sub-3 ERA. Only 11 starts, who's got a 5-0 record in those 11. So, I mean, they've got guys that, they can go and hold down a good lineup. Again, this is probably going to be one.
They've got a closer too. They've got a.
Don't see him. You better have a lead late.
Exactly. Tanner Bradley. This team is so young, Cord. Like all their good players, 3 of their best hitters are freshmen. One's a redshirt. Then another 2 are sophomores. Their best pitchers are all sophomores. Pretty fun. They're all tall and young. So I mean, Oregon's gonna be really good next year, but they're already a good team right now.
Yeah, Sanford, Scolari, the aforementioned guys, they both sophomores. You talked about Angelea, and I don't even know how to say the other guy's name. I'm not even going to try. I would butcher it so hard. The DH. I'm telling you.
I've been trying to figure it out, and the first name, I think it's Lowaki is his last name, but the first name, Nauavaloa.
See, I felt better about the first name than I did the last name. So maybe we just put our skills together, Evan, and we've got it figured out right there. But again, you talked about the Oregon team, and I mean, there's a lot of young talent. There's a lot of underclassmen that have really stepped up, contributed. Talking about going and winning spots. So Oregon team probably not going anywhere. Top to bottom, they're probably best overall talent is, and the sophomore class. They've got a lot of guys there. Add a couple of pieces in, Oregon could be right back in this position next year. Not trying to take anything for granted, but let's see here. Ryan, appreciate you being here, brother. Texas is a heavy favorite to win the Super and clearly a better team, but it's baseball. Oregon is a national seed. Hey, Oregon's got a really good recipe for winning in Super regionals and winning in Omaha. A little bit of a pesky lineup. They have an ability to go deep at times when needed, but then again, pitching. They've got that. They were able to get deep into games. And then, hey, I mean, you turn around and you're able to you go 7 innings. They're not going to be afraid to turn it over to Tanner Bradley and go 6 outs with that guy. And he's very capable of getting them. Evan, do you think that, let's see here. Do you think it's, I say it's not a disaster if you lose to Oregon. It would definitely hurt. But it's a stain on the program at all. If Texas can't. It would have been sure if you don't get out of the regionals. I agree with you there. What do you think? What are you thinking? The narrative will be if Texas can't get out of the supers this year under Sauce.
I said it before regionals even started. Like, you at least have to get to the last game of your super. That was my bare minimum.
You did.
With this level of team, like, you have to win a super regional game. You're not going to see me crying for people to get fired or anything like that, or hate watching people or whatever. I don't even know what I'm trying to say here, but you're not going to see me going crazy if they lose a close third game to Oregon, who's a national seed, to end their season. But the problem is now that because so many of these top teams have been eliminated, at least your 1 and 2 seeds, it feels a lot more open to go and make a run. And their side of the bracket's a little harder technically. There's no Little Rock or versus Troy to get to the championship or to the World Series, excuse me. But, they should win this series. If you're just talking on paper, it's at home. They're a very good team at home. They've not lost twice in 3 games at home. That's the easy way to put it for them. And it's a pitching team against a pitching team, but Texas has the, I guess, better theoretical arms top to bottom. So that's why they'd be favored. But I really do think this is a go all the way kind of series. 3 games, close third one, really gritting it out. But at some point, Cord, I see the top 3 at Texas, and it says Robbins, Tenney, Pack. There says Cooney, Laya, and I'm forgetting Smith at the end. I'm like, that top 3 right there, it's better at Texas, and I think they're more likely to make a really big, clutch, damaging hit in a series like this.
I hope so, man. And again, we talked about the limited postseason experience or 0 postseason experience for these transfer guys coming into for Texas, for Anthony Pack, freshman, obviously. And man, the weekend that they had, I just really, really impressive. Does it go all 3 games? Do you feel like it goes all 3 games, Evan? That's your prediction here. Are you going to take Texas in 3?
I'll take Texas Saturday, Monday, Oregon, Texas Sunday. Or, I said Sunday. Monday. Texas Monday at that.
I think you had it right, and that's what I'm going. We're not going to see Ruger Riojas this weekend, or technically Monday. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be and look at me, man. I was least confident going into this. I told you I'm impressionable.
You were.
I told you, but I liked what Cal Santa Barbara was doing. That was the only way that they could win the regional, was to hold Florida for game 2. Unfortunately for them, they lost, and everything kind of got thrown, and a wrench thrown in the plans. So I love mostly it's just the way that Texas looks at the plate, man. Big on the plate approaches. Sometimes you go in there, you see a guy 3-4 times in a row who's struggling, and it's not just the swings. It's just overall he's swinging at bad pitches. He's antsy. He's riled up. He doesn't look comfortable. A lot of dudes look comfortable for Texas right now. I'm honestly really impressed. Timely hitting right now. You have these guys that don't have postseason experience who really kind of were the heart of your team, at least from the hitting perspective throughout the year. And they just continue doing their thing. They're like, you know what? We're going to be us. We're just going to hit nukes. And it's impressive. And you still got guys like Casey Borba, who's going to get hot, really hot at some point. He's going to have just a big breakout moment where, that's what he does. He's not a pro hitter, but pretty dang close to it. So, again, I hope to see people at the Dish. I'm actually going to be out there Saturday. Evan, you going to be working all weekend over there?
I will. This time, I'll make sure I'm getting there early enough and that we can say hi, because I need to start. My problem has just been I always underestimate not the traffic to get to the Dish, but the traffic at the Dish. It takes you about 20 minutes from when you are on that side of the highway to get into the parking lot before you can even park your car. So I got to come a little earlier.
I just walk from New Braunfels. I leave about 9 hours before first pitch, and I just walk. Forget all that traffic. No, it is tough, man. Again, Evan's continuing to avoid me in real life. We just work together. We're not real life friends yet, but
it's hysterical. We have not met in person. It is. We have been on probably 50 of these shows at least.
I don't know, multiple times a week at least. Probably 20 of the weeks. I don't know. I've been with Inside Texas since mid-August, so we're getting close to a year.
At least 35.
We maybe have to go the full year, but I'm assuming you'll be at SEC Media Days, and so I'll be in the area. Hopefully, I'll be attending Media Days as well. But yeah, so we got to put it off for a little while just to keep the bit going. But all right, guys, we're going to do our second media break of the night. We're going to hear from Luxe Kitchen and Bath, and we'll be right back. We're going to talk a little bit more baseball, and we'll get into this softball series that kicks off tonight.
Are you ready to love your kitchen and bathroom again? Luxe Kitchen and Bath will bring that to life. Luxe has been offering high-end kitchen and bathroom remodels for 3 generations throughout the greater Austin area. With 5-star review after 5-star review on Google and Facebook and an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau, you can put your faith in Luxe Kitchen and Bath's award-winning designers and skilled craftspeople to bring your dream vision to life. But that's not all. Luxe's all-star team also provides full home remodels, large additions, and even commercial build-outs as well. So call Luxe Kitchen and Bath at 833-358-LUXE today, or visit luxekitchenbath.com to discover where quality meets luxury and begin the process of transforming your home. Get your free quote today by calling 833-358-LUXE. That's LUXE, or by visiting luxekitchenbath.com. Contact info is in the description.
Alrighty, so again, hope to see you all out at the dish. I hope to see Evan with his hairbrush. According to Joshua, that's hilarious. I like Evan. Evan, you know what? Some of us, he has hair. I got more hair on my beard than I do my head, so love it for Evan. Again, hope you guys all can make it out to dish. I think it's going to be a really fun home environment. But again, the boys are playing well. Chance to get back to Omaha, first time under Jim Schlossnagel. So again, going to be a lot of fun, man. I know a lot of people make that trek up to Omaha, but no Longhorn baseball back at the dish for a while, man. So get out there if you can. Evan's going 3 games. Kind of surprised. I'm going 2 games. And I'm going to have Nash on tomorrow, and I have a feeling about what Nash might do, but we're going to let Nash tell you himself tomorrow on the show. But yeah, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the softball series. Obviously, really impressive of these ladies to fight back. I mean, you talk about the opening game loss to Tennessee. They looked, I mean, let's be honest, they didn't look very good. They did not look like they were a team that went into that with the experience that they had. Evan and I talked about this a little bit before. But, we looked like a team that was just like, hey, it was our first time in OKC. We looked a little bit nervous, a little frazzled, lights a little bright. And again, Tennessee had one big hit in that game. It was kind of difference maker. But for Texas to bounce back the way that they did, obviously, handling Mississippi State, but then turning around the late dramatics by Katie Stewart in the 3-run home run to help them get by Nebraska. Texas owns Nebraska. Everybody needs to know this. It's kind of crazy. Literally, I tweeted that out in February after Texas softball beat Nebraska. Texas owns Nebraska and everything. And as soon as that game's going on, I started getting really nervous when Texas hadn't put a hit together through 4 or 5 innings, because I was like, I know there's some burner out there that's going to find that, then it's going to blow it up. But Katie Stewart saved the day. And then you talk about turning around, beating a Tennessee team twice. Felt Texas was a better team than Tennessee in that opening matchup, but we kind of just fumbled the bag a little bit. But yeah, credit to those ladies. Obviously, Cezali Gutierrez stepping up and just having the appearance that she did. I mean, really did a great job earlier. Defense kind of let her down some in that game. Right? I mean, she really let her down some in that game, but she was fantastic. Again, love to see the appreciation going around for Cezali. She deserves every bit of it. Then Tegan Caban stepping in game 2 and absolutely just shutting down Tennessee. Evan, are you a fan of the way they've restructured the undefeated game versus, the losers bracket, where it used to be in the past couple of years, it was if Texas would have beat Tennessee, they would have turned around and played it the day after. So they played it Tuesday, I guess. Alabama and Tech, same type thing. Now it felt like Texas, as soon as we beat Tennessee in game 1, as soon as we had the lead there late, it's like, oh, we're winning game 2. We have Tegan Caban, we have all the momentum, the bats are awake. And I felt the same way with Tech. As soon as Tech and Mia Williams hit that walk-off and run to get by Alabama, Tech's gonna win game 2. They have all the momentum. Do you like it like that, or
I like it. I do think it does kind of hurt the winners bracket team a little bit, which is not the goal when you're making the winners bracket. I guess advantage would be the word there, but you do get 2 games. It's double elimination, so you only need to win 1, and that's all you got to do. So if you really wanted to kind of take the first game off in some way and then put your stars out there and at least on the mound and really go all out in that second game, you can still do that. So it definitely helps the momentum of the winning team from game 1 a lot, if being that the losers bracket team. But I don't think it's so earth shattering or anything that these programs are going to be upset about it. I think it makes it more fun. The full day softball idea of it really makes that second game feel even more entertaining, because softball games go pretty quick. That 7 inning, which we've talked about, that 7 innings makes it fun and it's really fast paced. So you have that those last 2 innings are always really up and really big, because it's a World Series environment. Then got to calm down and win that second game later in that day. It's pretty fun. I do like it.
I had a blast with it. I thought it was a fantastic day. I think that the popularity of the sport obviously has increased, but I think this particular tournament in general has been really, really great. Not that I'm rooting for Texas Tech in any capacity, but I mean, they were the third and fourth most watched College World Series games ever, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I saw something on that. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's third and fourth most watched semifinal games ever. But either way, I thought it was, it's a really cool environment. It's really, really cool crowd. Obviously, you've got storylines for every team. They always have something. You've got Texas and the experience and finally breaking through last year, being the defending champion. You've got Texas Tech and all the pomp and circumstance that has come with following that softball team, from Barstool members following them around, and obviously Jason Williams being involved. Yeah, it's been a little bit of a mess, and then it kind of feels like the entire country is actually like not rooting against Texas in something, which is a pretty rare feeling. I feel like we're always the bad guys, and of course there's still going to be some that root against Texas, but even seeing like Oklahoma and A&M softball accounts, like big, baseball, softball heads, like I'm rooting for Texas. That's a weird feeling. I haven't seen that too often, but Ryan says the books have Tech as a slight favorite in game one. Like, I get it. You got Nija starting. Like, they probably have a better lineup top to bottom. Hate to say, but I think they do. I would probably label Tech as a favorite overall in the series. Evan, who wins? Do you have a prediction for us?
I'm going 2-0 Horns. It's funny because Kennedy is obviously very good. Every time I'm not always watching throughout the regular season. Every time I watch, it feels like she has a little blip that happens at some point, and I'm like, this is really like not every single time. Like, really, is this is the one they're paying $1 billion for? So I don't know. It's like Kennedy is always going to tip the scales in Tech's favor, but Texas has a lot of experience seeing her in a positive way, and this is where Tech's transfer lineup idea, at the very end might come to crumble a little bit just because they don't have the shared experience. I mean, this Texas team is 4 total transfers, only one of them starts, and I'm trying to think of off the top of my head, only like 3 total of the starters from this year's team like weren't a part of that run last year, if I have that correct. So they've been here. They know what it is. They know how to win these games. They know, especially in these low scoring games, Texas really understands what they're doing. So yeah, if it becomes like a race to 9 runs, that's where I think Texas Tech, like you said, that lineup top to bottom really can get you. But for Texas, if this is a 2-1 ball game, I'm taking the Horns every time.
Man, here I was thinking I was going to shock the world with a 2-0 prediction and some astute observation, because that was the big thing for me is the continuity of this Texas lineup, the experience, and the rollover of those who have seen Nija Kennedy so very many times. Tegan Cavan is 5-0 against Nija Kennedy, or at least Texas has won all 5 starts that Tegan Cavan has made against Nija. Texas has hit 239 in those matchups against Nija, which is a good bit higher than what she traditionally gives up. And then Tegan has been excellent. So it seems like in Oklahoma City, like Tegan Cavan, these lights really, really come on. And again, you see it all the time. You kind of think of it like an NBA playoff season. Further you get into it, the more you're getting locked in, and how your focus goes up, and you've got your body right and ready to go. And plus, again, you're just a little bulldog, and so you're ready to rock. So I'm not scared of the matchup, Tegan versus Nija, because again, Tegan's won all 5 starts between the two. If it gets into a basher's fest where the ball's just flying around, like that, definitely favors Tech. Big time favors Tech. We do not want to see Texas getting deep and deep and deep into the amount of arms that we use. I want to take Texas in 2 games. So I'm going to take Texas in 3 games. I'm going to give Tech a game just because I do think Texas wins good game 1 with Tegan Cavan. Again, curious to see if Nija Kennedy throws any intentional walk pitches, and if she has worked on those a little bit, because obviously that was a little bit of the deciding factor in game 1 last year.
That hurt a little bit.
Reese Atwood coming in with a very big, hey, she's waking up a little bit. Katie Stewart's waking up a we the middle of the lineup is coming.
Atwood's woken up.
I
think you would have been fair to say that before Monday, but I think she's. We were talking about how the one thing you could improve about this Texas team is not saying that you can coach. It's, hey, let's have our best hitters hit like the best hitters on the team, and especially Reese Atwood. And I think she's there now. I think she's starting to look it.
Yeah, and again, Katie Stewart looking pretty first team all worthy, in my opinion. Yeah, they're waking up now. The difference in the lineups between Texas and Tech is I think Tech has more power at the bottom of their lineup. Texas, we got a couple slap hitting hitters at the bottom of this lineup, and Tech's got firepower. It's like 1 through 9. It's like I fear an extra base hit at any point. You know, obviously they've shown that they've got more than just extra base hit potential. You know, they can put it over the fence on any swing. So again, not scared of this matchup. I think it's fantastic. It is so much hype around it again because you have a rematch because of you know, just a little, you know, added layer because of the added drama from Sark and Joey McGuire and the two programs and the media and fan base is going at it and, you know, constantly. So it feels like, yeah, it's just a little bit more on the line, but I don't want to do the ladies like that. It's all about them, and can't wait to see the ladies get out there and battle, a chance to repeat. Because again, the way that they fought back, I had no faith, Evan. I had zero faith. I didn't have faith that they'd come back after losing game 1 to Arizona State. I truly didn't. I had no faith after they lost game 1 to Tennessee that they were going to come back and get into the title series. Zero faith. I'm not even going to lie to you.
What if they lose so they can be elimination game Texas for the last 2? Because that's the best Texas is when they're on the brink of elimination.
6-0 in elimination games this year. 2-0 versus Arizona State. You took out Mississippi State, Nebraska, and twice the balls of Tennessee. Pretty cool, man. Pretty impressive. Again, you've seen Texas have their backs against the softball walls plenty of times here in the last couple of years. A&M up a game in the Austin Super Regional 2 seasons ago. Texas rallies and wins that. You saw Texas fighting back last year. Not necessarily with, you know, their life on the line, but just in games and big moments, games that felt very improbable for us to get across the finish line and win. And next thing you know, somebody delivered a big hit. Maybe it was 2 big hits. Yeah, just an impressive time for this, you know, for the program. But you would love to see them cap it off, back-to-back wins. I mean, dream scenario. You know, Tech gets upset and Oklahoma gets upset and their super regional, and A&M doesn't get out of their own regional, and then bang, you get a chance to play Tech. Could be a lot of fun in these next 3 days. And again, just in case you didn't know, and me being the golfer that I am heartbroken because Texas did fumble. We fumbled.
I saw that
pretty hard against UCLA yesterday. I'll say.
They have some theoretical ground in the Directors Cup, but there have been, I think, a few not optimal. The problem with Texas is that they're projected to go all the way in every sport in the late spring. So when they don't, it hurts the Directors Cup. So I mean, that's one that it's hurting the result a little bit.
Yeah,
a lot of teams are holding their weight though.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we needed to get across the finish line in either men's or women's golf, and we both go down in the quarterfinals. Both projected top 3 finishers there. So, you know, hey, not ideal. Again, big fan of John Fields in that program. But again, they've kind of just the last couple of years, I feel like we've maybe underachieved a hair. Again, you want the guys to hit that upside, hit their ceiling. And we had played so well the first 4 days of stroke play, and we played really well. A lot of that first round round with UCLA match play, you know, got out to a couple of big leads. Yep, it's crazy. Practice those putts, kiddos. Make sure you're rolling them, baby. But again, Evan, thanks for being here, my man. It's always fun with you. We're going to let you guys get out of here. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Texas baseball Saturday, Sunday, hopefully not Monday, potentially Monday. And again, Texas softball tonight. Where's Texas Tech? 7:30. Let's get it. Y'all have a great night, and hook 'em horns.